Okay. Okay. Fine. Let me see. So I have contacted the course instructor about the exam format. So I didn't hear from him till now. So I'll update the presentation whenever I receive the exam, the exact paper format. Okay. But the main things that were like, I guess, communicated to you guys as well. That let me just summarize this thing. So today's content will be to like so this thing is still pending. So I'll add the content in the presentation. You can come back later and see. Okay, so how much marks will be for which questions, these things. Um, Apart from that, we just to retouch on the like which things to carry and what is your exam type, these things. And for the content, we will be focusing on building APIs and web server today. So till now, what we know basics of data analytics and modeling, right? So today we will be so see only data analytics and modeling is not enough, right? You have to somehow deploy that model as well. So so let's say you develop some model, you have to deploy it, okay, over cloud or any, let's say, AWS or any other cloud instance. You have to deploy it. So in that case, you should be able to like make a web server that receives a request from a client, and uh, let's say receive data from client and serves them with predictions, right? So this is a crucial step. So I guess it was part of your course content as well, build how to build APIs and web servers. Okay, and for doing that, we will be using Flask. Show you a real world project like which I developed earlier in my coursework, and like we will try to develop some like let's say some small dummy applications or something. That's that, and we also test it. Okay, how to test a web server, how to deploy a web server, we'll know in this week. Okay, so criteria for the certificate, I guess you already know this. It's in the description of the course that 25% will be from list of 8 assignments you I guess already have submitted most of them. 11 assignments you have already submitted. One more to go, and the rest of 75% will be coming from the final exam. Okay. So and then the final score will be sum of like 25% and 75% score of both of these things. Okay. Okay. So and your test particularly will be a computer based test. Okay, and I guess you have to go to some ion TCS ion exam centers to take the test. Okay, so here I guess they have mentioned the questions will be on computer and answers will be entered on computer. Type of questions may include multiple choice, filled in blanks, essay type answers. So that means they may ask you to write code as well. Okay, so it will be multiple choice or let's say fill in the blanks that I was telling you earlier, like in earlier weeks as well, right? That there can be questions like let's say a incomplete code is given and you have to, let's say, fill in blank parts of it. Okay, let's say the problem statement is given that you have to print all the prime numbers from let's say 1 to 99. Okay, and then let's say the print statement and the user input part is given. The main logic you have to write. These type of questions may come also. Okay, so multiple choice, fill in the blanks, and essay means that you may have to write the entire code as well. So this TCS Ion, I don't know whether you have taken test on this TCS Ion software or not, but I guess it also like allows us to write code and compile and run it. Okay, so I guess you will be you so I'm asking the course instructor colleague. I have mailed him. But okay, yes. So yeah, if I get a response, I'll update the exact question pattern in the presentation itself. So you can come back later on and check. Okay. Okay. And you already know that the hall ticket will be there and you have to carry a ID card. Okay. Restrictions. One restriction is there. I don't think it's a major like drawback for your case as well, because you see these days we don't need calculators, right? Most of the time we don't need calculators, but anyway, even if you need it, there will be a online calculator available for your case, but you cannot bring physical calculators. Okay. Okay, so after that I was planning to add the question paper pattern, but anyway, since I have not heard from the professor, so I'll wait for his reply and then add it after this restriction slide. Okay. Okay, so let's get back to this week's material. Okay. So yeah, so this is what web servers like generally mean. Okay, so I don't think you can see it. See it is. So APIs are, so this picture is actually a very good representation of what is like what is backend, what is exactly web server and APIs. So front end is basically what you see, right? So let's say any website, it's a LinkedIn. That's the front end, the website you see. Okay. So what are APIs? APIs are basically like which brings data to the website. Okay, let's say your profile have multiple data, right? Let's say your name, your which college you study, in which year you study, these things, which are the previous degrees you have completed, right? These things are data or that corresponds to you, right? So APIs, what they do, they bring the data for the front end so that it's get visible there. Okay. And backend is basically like that manages data. So how to keep that data, or how to, let's say, uh, manage that data is entirely for the backend part. So this is a good representation, right? That APIs actually bring the food to the table. Table is where the food is displayed, and this backend is where it is cooked. Okay, or where the food is stored, basically. Okay. Uh, okay, thank you, Vikram. So I will I'll share the exam pattern also. Let me just like hear it from the prof, because I cannot find any other questions from previous years. Okay, I had to ask him about the previous year questions. So let me just confirm that and put it there. Okay, so this is uh, how the things are deployed in case of real world, right? Let's say there is a model that we have developed which predicts the last week's problem, right? That we want to predict whether there will be rain or snow, right? So in that case, you see what we did. Let's say the data which is being sensed by sensors, right? Wind speed, wind direction, all those things that are getting sensed by, let's say, weather station near your home. Okay, and that data gets let's say saved in some database. Okay, it's a real-time database. So in each, let's say, 5 minutes, the data gets updated there and saved there. Okay. Now okay, so now what I have a like running data. Now I build a model. Let's say I collect a lot of data for, let's say I have data for 10 years, say 10 previous years, and I build a model on top of that. And okay, I have got 98-95% accuracy. I am pretty happy with the accuracy. Now I want to build an app, okay, that gives alerts to the people. Let's say in the morning or in the evening, the app, when whoever installs the app, they gets alerts on weather forecast, that okay, today it will be raining or snowing. Okay, so that app is actually the front end. And I guess you guys already know that if you want to build a web app, there are libraries like React, AngularJS, right? For Android, it's like Android Studio is there, right? Flutter, these kind of things you can use to build an app. Fine. Now the APIs and the backend. So where the data is stored, that's the database part, which is part of a backend. So the backend is actually comprised of two main things. One is this database, or where the data is getting stored, and one is this business logic. What operations you can perform on the data. Those operations are defined as a web server. Okay, and the web servers kind of defines three things. So one is like which APIs will be there. So how you can access data. This is defined by a web server. Okay, which is permissible to send to the web server. So the how means in which, like that is two things that are three things that are necessary. One is the method. So there are, I guess, multiple type of methods. So I think you already know some of them: get method, post method, delete, put, right, update. These are methods that can be done on a web server. Okay, the path where the method can be executed is basically the business logic that will be executed. Okay, and there are data associated with the request as well. So whenever, let's say, I am requesting a web server, three things matter: the path, what I am sending the web server, data or payload, sometimes it's referred to as payload as well, and the method. If these three things are wrong, then the server will kind of fall back to like internal server error mode. Okay, and then the internal server error can be anything. So let's uh, let, let me just go to LinkedIn or somewhere and try to. Okay, now if I type anything, any random thing, right? Then you see what happens. So this is a kind of error handling page. So it causes an error in the web server. Okay, so what happens? The front end tries to execute a request. This is usually GET request. So the web server, the this web browser, I am using Brave. So this Brave browser, what it does, it requests a GET API. It requests with a GET method in this path. This is the path. Okay, or URI. You can say URI, universal resource in, like, I guess, locator or something, URL or URI indicator, something like this. Okay, so this is an invalid resource, which is not, like, it doesn't exist. So what happens? The server like enters into a fault handling mode, and then it kind of sends back a like, see what it sends, exactly what it sends. Let me inspect. Go to network. Okay, so if I refresh this, okay, so for LinkedIn, I guess it's not that much easier. Okay, so we have to build our custom server, then we'll be able to show these things. Right? Anything, but what happens is, the page not found, these things, right? So what happens in the backend is, the server, like server goes to a fault tolerance mode, and then something gets returned to the front end, so that the front end users can know, okay, this resource doesn't exist. Okay, okay, so where is it? Yeah, So it's something like whenever you order something in a restaurant and that item is finished, okay, or that item is not in the menu, right? So that is what happens. That the APIs or or whoever is taking your order, let's say the waiters, come back to you and say, okay, that order is not possible because the item has like it's empty or it doesn't exist in our menu, right? Okay, so these are some. So you get the overall idea of what is backend, what is API, and what is front end, right? Now we'll try to do a hands-on. So we will be using this Flask library and the requests library. So what they are, Flask is, you can just go and search it. Flask. This library is actually gives us a good interface to code backend servers for Python. And some of the projects that you can see in my GitHub as well. Right. So we will not go to the documentation directly, show you some like how to write code with Flask, that kind of thing, basic server, how you can develop it. Okay. So some of the repositories you can check in my GitHub are that uses this library, by the way, this shard queue. There is one another any other library? No. Okay. So this is one library which implements, by the way, which implements a distributed database. Okay. So it uh, or rather it in if I go to specifics, it give you a queuing service. So what happens is I don't know whether you have heard of subscriber publisher method. So subscriber publishers are a design pattern for web server. So basically, whenever your phone receives a push notification, right? So that's a subscriber publisher thing. So your mobile phone actually subscribes to the notifications. So whenever there will be a new notification, okay, then the web server basically takes the responsibility of delivering it to the client. That's a publisher subscriber method. Okay, so it's a queuing service. So basically all the messages gets queued. So whenever there is a new message, it will be sent to all the subscriber who have subscribed to that particular feed. Okay, for example, your LinkedIn notifications, all those things. These are subscriber publisher subscriber things. Okay, so this library, so this repository, you can check it later on. Let me put it in the chat. Yeah. So this repository develops a distributed uh, uh, queuing service. Okay. And so there are a lot of testing as well. So you can, if you want, you can just read the documentation and understand what it exactly do. Okay. Later on. Anyway. So in Flask, what you can do, you can create web servers. And what are web servers? I can request a particular URL. Let's say, for example, so let's say some server is running in my local host, this server or some port, right? Anyway, 8080 port. And then there will be a path, let's say resource slash uh, table, right? So for example, table, it should give me a list of tables that are available, or let's say list of, not table, let's say chair, a list of chairs that are available in my house, right? These kind of things. Okay, so you'll learn to uh, build these things. Okay, so let's just uh, run the okay, and the request library, what it does, you can anyway, here you can send a request, or mostly whatever you type in this URL bar, it is a get request. And I will say what are like different type of request and all, get request. Okay, but if you want to create other request types, okay, like post, delete, update, these are some request methods that you can also apply. Those you can do it in web browser, obviously, but from Python, if you want to do it, it is done by this requests library. Request library. Okay, so I will do some hands-on on this now. Let's go to the and notice that by running this Jupyter Notebook command, right, what I am doing exactly is I'm actually launching a web server, local web server, okay, which gives this front end. The back end is handled by this Python installation, okay. And the data, basically whatever I am saving, that data gets right to the that same directory where I am opening the server. So see this localhost 8080, right? This is the socket. Socket is comprised of two things, IP and port. So this is localhost means 127.0.0.1. Okay, and this port is 88. So 8080. Sorry, 8888. So that means this localhost colon 8888. That's a socket. Socket of a web server. And this /tree is actually the tree method. So tree method, what it does, it actually lists the files, list all the files that are available in the directory where the server is running. Okay, now if I create a new Python instance, so what I did, I executed some method on the front end which basically queries the back end to do what, to do this, to make this untitled file. So I guess the new file is created, this untitled, right? A new file is created, it is saved in my file system. Let me check whether it is saved in my file system or not. Okay. Is it there? Yeah, this one, right? Untitled.ipynb file is present. So what the backend does, what I did from the front end, I click on the new button, click on this Python 3 IPY kernel. It requests the backend to create a file name untitled, which is by default is untitled, right? So anytime you create a new file, it is created as untitled, right? Okay. Now I can rename it. So this is a front end action that you can take. In the backend, what it is doing, it is requesting the backend to rename the file, and from the backend, what is it is doing, it is using the OS capabilities to rename the files, right? The OS has capability to rename a file, organize it, anything, right? So the backend is using the operating system to manipulate the data. Okay. For this case, it's a file system it is managing. Or let's say your case, it can manage a database as well. So it can manage a database consisting of like student name, roll number, and all those things. Let's say you are making a application for your school attendance system, right? In that case, your data will be a database consisting of details of all the students. And the front end should look something similar to, let's say, your college website, right? Where you can log in and let's say update anything, right? This thing. So this is week 11. Now, what we are let's define the problem first. So we are trying to make a web server, and we are using Flask. So web server with Flask. So one thing you should remember: this web server, these are the uh, the execution structure is basically little bit different from Python. Okay, so there is a learning curve at the beginning, but I'll try to make it as smooth as possible for you. Okay, that you know why we are writing web servers like this, and it's actually consistent across many languages. So in Java, in JavaScript, every language where you can build a web server, the overall writing procedure or how you write methods, how you create resources, everything is similar. Okay, so it will help you in like learning how to make a web server in other languages as well, for Java, let's say JavaScript, anything. So the library we need is Flask. So if you don't have that library, you can install it by pip install Flask. Right. Now let's import it. Flask. Okay. Now Flask import app. Web server is equal to app. So let me just open the like this is the boilerplate part. Okay. So this is common for all the projects that you can write. Let me just go to one of my projects and see. Manager 2, manager.py. Oh, this Flask. I'll just take some references from here because I don't remember these things. I don't memorize these things basically. See, okay. So this capital Flask is the application. Okay. So this is how you make a web server app like variable. So this Flask is the web server. Okay. Now I can what it requires import name. So let's just name it anything app, right? Now, okay, fine. Now web server dot run. This actually runs the server. And this is a blocking call. So blocking means what? You cannot run any other. So let's say like in this case, I am running it cell by cell, right? But usually what it happens, we just write the server code in a py file and run it from terminal, right? So in that case, nothing below this run command would run because it's a blocking until you close the server, then or some error happens. So what happens when there is a error, the server closed. Okay, it goes to a fault uh, stage and then it just close from the running stage to close stage. Unless you have written a like fault tolerance mechanism. For example, LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn, what the backend server, how it is managing not to crash is it's whenever it's getting crashed, it's sending you a default website, right? Okay, I'm not able to find this path, so you just get this default website, right? But for your case, if you are not handling the fault case, it will close. For example, it's running in my local host. See this. So this this is not found, right? So it's not found. Not found, I guess it doesn't close the server. It's just not found. So there can be some internal, if there is internal server error, it's all not found. Okay, see this 404, I guess this error code is uh, like pretty much known to everybody. So that means the website doesn't exist. See 127.0.0.1/ASA or anything. Let's say I'm not giving ASA, then also it doesn't exist. Why? Because I have not defined the methods that can be applicable on the server. So by opening this site, what I am doing, let's just write it here. Uh, Web browser. By opening this 127, let me just copy it from here and paste it, right? So what I am doing by opening a new page, it's creating a GET request. So GET, it's actually doing a GET request on this URL. And what are the different type of requests that are possible? I guess GET, so let's just write it, different HTTP methods. go to some images. Yeah, these are the methods that are possible. Okay, so get, put, post, delete, head, trace options. Delete, head, trace options, these are not that much important, but anyway, let me see. Get, post, put, delete. Mostly these things: get, post, put, and delete. And update is also there. Okay, or sometimes this patch is known as update. Patch is update. Um, okay, so let's just patch option trees. Okay, let me just copy this and put it. Copy image, and it is taken from soft unique local enable. Okay. And you see, whenever you take something from internet, right? So one good uh, I guess one good practice is to credit them. Okay, that doesn't so that it doesn't violate the like the plagiarism principles. Okay, so credit is credited to soft uni global. Okay, this is how you can uh, I guess credit third-party materials. Okay. Right. So what are the methods that are possible? Get, post, put, delete, patch, and head. And the exact what they exactly do are here, right? It retrieves data, it posts data, and get data from the like server. Put, delete, patch, and head. Now writing the URL here triggers a GET request. And how I can know that? I can go to the inspect tab. Okay, it's just don't go to the responsive. Uh, anyway, network tab. Okay, now if I just refresh, see, this is the request. It's a get type request. See here, headers. See here, you can see the headers. What exactly request it generates? So it requests URL is 127.0.0.1 localhost, and then 5000 is the port. Sorry, yeah, port. Right. So that means this is the web socket, and the method is get. What is the status code from the server? That 404, it doesn't exist, right? 404 not found. Okay, and there is a movie also. This 404 not found. There is a movie. Movie. This film 404 not found. Okay, so 404. That means the path doesn't exist. Okay. There are other status codes as well. So when there is an internal error, right? Let's say you are dividing somewhere in the logic, you are dividing with 0. That cause a math error, right? In that case, the server gets to an like fault mode. Okay, and it returns a 500 series code. So whichever code is in the 500 series, that means it's an internal server error code. So some logic is faulty. Okay, 200 series codes means the response is okay, fine. The response is okay, but there are some meanings. Let's say 203. Let's see what 203 means. HTTP 203 code. So it means uh, was modified by proxy. Yeah. So that means that the request was good, but the response is modified by some proxy or third party. That means, let's say you are requesting to a web server, okay, but the content or the header is getting changed by some middleman. Let's say a proxy or any other third party in the middle of the your client and the server is changing the header. Okay, then in that case, this HTTP status code is changed from 200 to 203. Okay, so these type of different error codes are there. 404 anyway. Now let's just create a valid URL first. Okay, so how to create a valid URL? Let me just stop the server. Hi. Yeah. At the date, this is the code app.route. Okay. For our case, the web server, it's the web server, right? So web server dot route. Route is basically a synonym of path, right? Web server dot route, and then you can write this slash for this path. This is the slash path or home path. Okay, this is the like default path. So giving nothing means that it will go to the slash path. Okay, and then below it, whichever function you will write, that is the method that would get executed. So it's like the path and the corresponding method. Okay, so this is, let's say, the home method, right? Home, and it generally expects a JSON as output, but we can also, so strings are also valid JSON. Okay, so I can write a string hello from server. This is the how you write a corresponding function for a path. So what I expect whenever I go to the server now, it should not give me 404. Instead, it should give me hello from web server, right? And also, so what things you can send as a return? You can send a JSON. See, these things are JSON, string, and a HTML, valid HTML. All these three things can be accepted by the client. Like especially the web browser, it can show these three things: string, JSON, and valid HTML. So for example, let's not get into HTML now. I can just send a string for now. So what I expect, there will be no text formatting. There will be just a line called hello from web server or from server, right? So run. Now the server is running. What? Anyway, just restart the kernel. Oh, I guess I have not given the method. By default, the method is get. Let me see. No, it is running. Fine. So I just open the same, I refresh it. Now it gives me, see, the header gives me 200. Okay, that means my request code is 200. That means I have received the data successfully. Okay, and the method was get. Fine. And the data that I get here, you can see it, right? Hello from server, the exact text that I was sending. Okay, and from this also you can see the data from the network tab. Wait, let me, yeah, see the whole packet header is there, and then as well as the data. So the request URI is this, say, fine. These are these are basically header things. Okay, so connection is closed, content length was 17. So if you count, there are 17 characters. So that's why the content length is 17. Okay, the content type was HTML text. So the strings are also accepted as HTML. Okay, date time, when the like when the exact request is done from the client, right? The server, the Python version, and all those things. So this is the web server, which is the Flux server. Okay, and it's also printed here. Uh, this the this server instance. So it's actually a full. This is the server. Okay, and the Python version is 3.9.12. So that's fine. uh, and the data you can see it. Yeah, this is the header and this is the preview. Preview means it's the data, exact data that is coming. Response also, preview means it's a formatted preview. So if there are formatting, like let's say header tag is there or paragraph tag is there, so or let's say any tag, let's say italicized tag is there, right? So the preview will give you a formatted output, or it did, right? Okay, anyway, response is exact, so the raw data. So if it is an HTML page, it will give you an HTML code as a response. Okay. Initiators, there is no initiators. Timing, so this is the timing. See different stages of the request. But let me just open it up. Okay. So there are, so I guess this is queuing. Okay. So queued at 0, started at 1.59 milliseconds. That means this is the whole waiting time from my browser to the web server. So I initiate the request. It waits for 1.39 milliseconds before the browser initiates the request. Okay. Now connection start. Here the connection started. Okay, the client or the browser connects with the server, and this is stalled. Stalled means nothing happened for this duration. Okay, and then DNS lookup. So DNS lookup, what it means, it, let's say, so for this case there are no DNS lookup because it's directly an IP and a port, right? But in case of LinkedIn, let's say LinkedIn, it has a like domain name, right? LinkedIn.com. But actually LinkedIn is running on some web server which has a valid IP. So that lookup, that from domain name to IP, that lookup is called DNS lookup. Okay, domain name server lookup. So from the name to the valid IP, it creates a mapping. So DNS servers create the mapping for you. So the client, what it does, it queries the DNS server and tries to get the corresponding IP. So now after getting the IP, it has the IP and the port. So it's a valid web socket. Okay, just interrupt me whenever you find it confusing. Okay. And after the DNS lookup has finished, now it has a valid socket address. It initiates the connection. And these are this HTTP or HTTPS, these are TCP connections. Okay. Initiates the connection. It sends the request. Right, sends the request means it. So these lengths are actually representing time. Okay, and if you come here, there will be these are the time, exact milliseconds how much it took. Okay, so the sending request took 0.22 milliseconds. Waiting for the server. So this is the whole server response time. So it's waiting for the server to send the client the data, right? So it waits for 4.81 milliseconds. Okay, and then it download the content. So download the content is 0.43 milliseconds. Okay. So total time taken was 8.61 milliseconds. And like within 8.61 milliseconds, the overall, like looking up the valid socket address, connecting the socket, getting the data from there, as well as downloading the data completed within 8.61 milliseconds. Okay. Yeah. Now cookies. What are cookies? So these are some data that is saved by the browser. Okay. So the name of the cookie can be anything. This is basically a this mapping, key to value mapping, dictionary kind of thing. Okay. This is the key to value mapping. So this is the key and this is the corresponding value. I don't remember what this exactly means. So how they have so filter. Anyway, so this is something that the web server can store, or sorry, web browser can store to like sometimes to improve the performance of the interface, these kind of things. Okay. So whenever, let's say, you are So let's say I am logged into Gmail. So I am not able, I don't have to log in like frequently, right? Whenever let's say I log out, then only I log in. The rest of the times it just automatically logged me in the Gmail. Right? That's what is done by cookies. Okay. So this is the overall like process what is done from the web browser or the client. But you say your mobile phone also does all these things. So whenever you open YouTube on your mobile phone, it exactly does the same thing and sends a request to YouTube's server. Okay. Okay. Now, like, I think you have a good idea of how a GET request looks. Let's just try to make some other resources as well or other routes as well, right? Just stop the server. Now I have stopped the server, right? Now if I try to request it, see what will happen. It's still waiting for the server to get the data. It's still refreshing, right? So that means it's still pending. If I go to this timing, wait, click here, go to timing. See, initiating requests. It's still initiating the request. After some time, it will fail, right? So we'll see how when it will fail. It's still waiting for the server. Initiating, and this time is not there. That means it's still waiting for the connection to be initiated. Okay. Okay, still nothing. Still going on anyway. I guess it will wait for how much time? And then it'll say you cannot connect to this server. Meanwhile, if I just turn on the server again, right? Let's see what happens. If I just turn on the server again, it should be able to connect. Okay, let's just restart it and run it. Now it was able to run. So next time when it refreshed, it was able to download and like, instantiate the connection and download the data. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So this is how you uh, connect to a web server. So not necessarily always you can connect with like web browsers, right? You can also connect from terminal. So to query the same thing from terminal or like let's say execute a GET request, you can use curl. So this curl is available for this Mac and Ubuntu. I'm not sure whether it is available for Windows. Okay, but curl, if I give curl 127.0.0.1:500 slash, so 5000 slash, that means it will also give me the same output. So what it is doing, it's doing a good GET request. And for curl GET request.
So, like whatever you are showing, these are not a part of the video lectures. So,
No,
such
no,
questions are important. Like they can come in exam or they are just
no.
for our knowledge.
Okay, so I think it is this APIs and all these things are part of your course. Wait, let me just check once. So like last time when I saw your course material, I guess APIs and all those things, the concepts were there. This is which one? Oh, sorry.
This is not our course.
Yeah, yeah. Clicked on the wrong. This is the part, right? How the like web programming and APIs. So I guess it's part of your week 12. Okay, you'll see these things because you see already we have covered these parts, right? Uh, so yeah, in the request library you will know how to automate request for APIs. So this part will be covered in the request part. Anyway, the how web servers work, that is discussed in week 12. But anyway, to know how to execute API calls, you know how to like, write web servers first, right? Okay, so it's part of your week 11 and week 12 content. So just hang on a bit. So you have already studied week 11's content, right? No?
Yeah, so like you were saying, na, so we can be asked to complete the code, or we can be asked to give the output of the code, or some error we have to find. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just been like it will be 3 months. In 3 months, we have not gained that much expertise, like
Mm-hmm.
what is expected.
So yes, so after I get the previous year question papers, right? So I will try to give you an understanding of what to expect. Okay, I don't think there will be lot of unknown questions for you. Okay, so let's say error, right? So you can expect something like
Yeah,
this. There
like
will be this.
this course was for beginners also, so that
Mhm.
way, in 3 months, no one can be an expert. Like
Yeah, yeah,
we are
obviously,
trying,
obviously, but
but
but in
still
in
we are
case
not
of
experts in 3 months.
yeah, so it's like you don't so I guess you are not expected to like handle these like very hard questions, right? So there will be questions like, let's say a key is not present in a dictionary, right? So what is the error code that you will get? Or let's say there is a piece of code and it shows, okay, key not found error, right? So you have to write the reason why it failed, like it has this error code as a return. Right? So you can just like reading the code, you can understand, right, that this key is not present in the dictionary, or let's say in the list. So that's why you are getting index out of bound or key not found error. Right? So these kind of things you can expect. So I can confirm it like after I get the previous year questions. Anyway, so just wait a bit. So anyway, so these materials are part of your week 11 and week 12 course material. So these are basically from how to launch a web request from Python and how the web service actually written in Python. So the web programming and requesting. And this is basic. So anyway, we'll see.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see the question pattern. So we have 2 more weeks, right? So there are a lot of time to discuss how the questions will be set up and what you can expect from the question paper. Notes, so no, I don't have any notes like with me. Let me see. So if some other TA have any question, exam preparation notes. So exam preparation notes, I guess you can just follow the video lectures, right? You can just revise it in 2 3 days at max and then just go with it, right? Video lectures will be like fine, I guess. And if somebody has like made any note for you, you can share it, let's say, with everyone. that okay, I have made some important notes, so these are the important parts. You can also share it with others. So you can create a group, discuss among yourselves. Okay. But anyway, so uh, like remembering these things. So you are not expected to remember the programming syntax, right? It's something like you should. So there will be only questions which are generic to us. Like let's say write a code for prime numbers. Write a code for prime numbers that can sum up to 6. These kind of things. Okay, sum up to some number. So find a prime number which if I sum the digits, it let's say gives me 55 or something like this. These type of questions may come. Okay, these type of coding questions. Anyway, the MCQs and everything will be pretty standard. So for example, these kind of questions may come. See, one question would be a equal to. Okay, please stop the server. And you guys tell me what would happen. One, two, three,
Like there
four.
was a there was
B
a
is equal to
concept
a.
of time zone introduced
Time
in
zone,
this
right?
time zone. Yeah.
Mhm.
So calendar and time zone.
Okay,
Like
calendar and time zone. So which part did you not understand in that part?
I have seen questions like they are asking, like they give a code and then they ask what is this code doing, and then we have to see if it is calculating the number of days in that month which are of the same day.
So there
Yeah.
is this 12-digit number, right? From that you have to extract the date, month, and everything. Is this so? So it's like, so this is a Unix timestamp. So from Unix timestamp, you can convert it to your local timestamp, wherever let's say IST, anything, ET, any timestamps you can. So are you referring to that part, right? So you are referring to how to convert this Unix timestamp code to corresponding date time for our understanding. Is it this or anything else? Just pretty. So usually the Unix timestamp looks like it looks timestamp. It's like, yeah, this is a Unix valid Unix timestamp. So you are talking about this, that okay, if this is the Unix timestamp, what will be my local timestamp?
No, it's not about timestamp. It's about the library calendar. They are using the library calendar, and
Uh-huh.
then they are calculating. There are certain codes that they give, and then they
Mhm.
ask what is this code doing? Is it calculating the number of days in a month, number of days in a year, if it is a leap year or not? Those sort of things.
Okay, okay. Yeah, calendar library. I have not used this library, by the way. Let me see. Let me, yeah, calendar related things. Oh, okay. So yeah, you are supposed to remember some of them, so which are very, very common. Okay. Okay, so it's basically a good time management library. So import calendar, calendar dot date time will give you, sorry, it will give date time dot date. Right? It's a method, and it so what it gives me, sorry, date time dot time is there, time. So it gives me, oh wait, hour, minute, second, gives me a time object. Okay, so wait, how I can see at least current time. Um, okay, so it is not a timing library. It is actually calendar February is leap year. If it expects an year 2024. Oh, okay. So again, I have not used this library before. Okay, but what it does, it gives you all the calendar features, I guess. That you can calculate whether it's a leap year, whether first week of day, right? So this is what? First week of day? No. Okay, so this is
Yeah, then there like calendar. Then there is a time zone library also that they are using.
yeah, time zone library is also there. Yeah. So some functions you can remember from them. Okay, so sometimes so they can tell you to convert, let's say fill a piece of code from let's say ET to IST, and you can use the time zone library. Okay, so these are some standard codes that you can remember. So I don't remember those things because I usually don't use those things, right? So, but anyway, there is this time zone library.
Actually,
Time
there were some
TZ,
questions
TZ.
where we were
Yeah,
uh,
go ahead.
actually there were some questions where we would use have to use the calendar for some question. So I think
Mhm.
that type of questions won't come because we won't be able to use calendar in the exam.
No, you will be able to use it. Actually, this TCN Ion website, I guess it gives you access to a compiler. Okay, so because it's a CBT, right, computer based test, so you can expect to write code in there as well, I guess. I'll confirm it. So I will put the exact question pattern in the presentation after I get response from the course instructor. But anyway, so expect that you have to also remember some details of these libraries. These are common libraries, right? How to let's say convert time zone, how to convert,
So
how to check whether it's a
on
Mhm,
YouTube, I came across a video of 2021. There,
mhm,
someone was saying that they had appeared for this exam, and
uh-huh,
it's a proctored exam which is having 50 questions, and
mhm.
then there is unproctored exam also in which we have to write the code.
Yeah. So I have seen the software where you will be giving the exam. Right? That software is actually standard for all the tests, all the programming tests that like happens on TCS Ion centers, right? So that software has a compiler. So let's say some part of the exam can be MCQs, and there will be MCQs by the like a lot of MCQs, but there can be 2 to 3 coding questions as well where you have to code. And the bad thing is no autocomplete will be there. Okay, so no autocomplete, no you can say these this hints, right? Shift tab hints what I am doing, so which parameters this function expects, these things will not be there. So that's basically a text editor. Okay, and then there is a run button by which you can click and run the code on the set test cases, and you will be able to know that which cases has passed and which test cases has failed. But
So
don't
do you have
expect
any
to have
idea
it
how
any.
many coding?
Yeah,
Sir, do
so
you
I
have any idea how many coding questions are gonna be in the exam?
no, I'll update that in the PPT. So after some time, or after 1 or 2 days, you just come back to this week 11 PPT. I'll have the whole question set up here. Okay, so I just mail the professor. I have not get any response from him. I'm just refreshing. Anyway,
So how can we have this PPT?
you already have this PPT here, right? Uh, wait, this sheet is with you, so you can go to this drive link. The code, everything till now, whatever we have did so far, right? Everything is here. I'm just sharing the drive link. Oh,
So can you
is it?
please
No.
paste the link of this drive in the chat?
Yeah, just pasting it. Wait. Anyone? You are fine. All the PPTs are here. Okay. Okay, so
Thank you.
anyways, 2 weeks are remaining. So anyway, we'll have a lot of time to discuss these things. Okay, so I'll update the course, the question pattern here, and then I guess probably next week we'll do some practice questions. Not exactly the previous year questions because that will be unethical. I'll try to formulate some similar type of questions. Okay, or similar or same genre questions. That okay, if programming are coming from, let's say, from this prime number, all those things, right? uh, anagrams and all those things, I'll set up similar 2 3 questions. These things you should practice. Okay, but like don't expect two big programs to come. Okay, so it should be something limited to implementation, not logic. Implementation, or let's say if there is logic, there will be that will be very easily like thinkable. So it should not be too hard. Okay, so just remember the syntax and some libraries that you are kind of suspecting that would come. That, for example, the time library, the time zone library, and the calendar library, right? So these things you can just learn. And the collections library as well. So if you want to use it for some computation, the collections library sometimes help the counter and everything. Okay. But anyway, we'll see those things later. And when is your exam, by the way? It's in November, right? It's in November. Okay.
Second number.
2nd November. So I have time. Try to get the syntax very okay. UITZ times your DT all time zones. Okay, so what is the output of the following code? Inverter from time zone to DT zone, all time zones, I zone. So what it gives, so it's very intuitive, right? It's print all the current time in all the time zone. Okay, so PT time zone and now. So now, so DT, right? So DT is date time. Let me see. Import from date time, import date time dot now. It expects the time zone. And if you don't give it time zone, it gets the local time zone, right? And now if I give uh, ACR Kolkata, so this is the time zone. Yeah, I guess she's okay. Time zone. As a this is a time zone object. So import UITZ dot time zone ACR Kolkata. This is a valid time zone, and this is LMT plus basically GMT plus 530. Okay, LMT. I don't know what is LMT. LMT time zone. Local mean time. Something. And then we are from local mean time plus 555. And if I pass this, which is by the way my local timestamp also, I get this, right? It's like 7:23 in evening, and it is exactly 7:23. Now if I go to any other timestamp, right? Let's say ET time zone, ET time zone, Eastern. So Eastern time zone, we have to see what is the valid string for this. UITZ dot all time zones. So these are all the time zones. And ET I can search here. ET. EAS Eastern. Canada is Canada Eastern. Any other? Chile, Eastern Island, Pacific, US Eastern. I pass this as the time zone. It gives me what? It gives me morning 9:58. Okay, let's check Eastern time. 9:58. So this is what this code means. It's you print the current date and time for all time zones. So this type of things you can expect. Okay, so just remember these take some libraries that are very common for date, time, calendar, all those things. Okay. But anyway, it's very hard. For me, I cannot remember a particular like all the functionalities of a library. Sometimes I also forgot. So it doesn't bother me about like when I'm coding, right? Let's say I am coding, I can just search and like whenever I'm not remembering some part of a program, I can just search and get the corresponding help. But for your questions, you cannot search for your test, right? So you have to remember some functions. Okay. Okay, guys. So let me just complete today's content. Okay. Anyway, so what I was discussing earlier. So can anyone tell me if I change A is 0 to B 100 and print A and B, why both of them gets changed? See the program. A equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. B equal to A 0 equal to 100, and if I print A and B, both of them, like both of A and B, why B has been changed? So if I can just A is equal to plus N, B is equal to comma. Yeah. Why A and B both has been changed? So these type of questions may come. So these are some confusing ones, right? That why both of them has changed. And if I do the same thing in let's say any other language, that might not happen. Okay. For example, let's say if I do the same thing for tuples, sorry, for tuples I cannot like assign anyway. If I do it for a dictionary, see the same thing will happen. A, everything is A, and for 1 I make it to 100. See, both of them gets changed. Why it happens and how to write the piece of code so that it doesn't happen. Can anyone like tell me this, or do anyone want to try this? Why this happened and how do you say the questions comes as why this unexpected behavior arises and how to let's say come out of it, or how to fix it, let's say also how to fix it. Okay, so Ikram is saying it's not making copy and writing the data in the same variable. So yeah, exactly. So how to come out of it, then how to fix it? Exactly. So what happens is it is create. So even if I am assigning B to A, it is not creating a separate data for it for B. It is like simply like assigning a pointer. So the whole dictionary is there somewhere in the memory. It is just allocating the pointer to A and pointer to B. So the same pointer is accessed whenever I am accessing A or B, right? So by changing A, I am unintentionally changing B as well. Now tell me how to fix it. Vikram, can you you can try. This question was like the answer was correct. Anyway, so these type of questions may come. And let's say there is this so the options that are available. A. This is A option. Dot copy this operator or dot clone. So which options are correct? B, right? B is correct, but also A is also correct. So there is no operator as this dot. This clone doesn't exist. So for C, there is no operator as a clone. The copy operator, it is available on every data structure. Okay, but for list or dictionary, so for list only, this operator is valid because it's a dictionary. It's not a valid option, right? For if it's a list, then this is the kind of slice the whole list, right? Operator say this is also true. So it is this is true for list only, right? And this copy operator, this is true for all data structures. So the right answer is B. So what you have to do, write this as A dot copy. Then it has a different data. So even if I'm changing A, B is not changed. So these type of questions you can expect. Okay. So anyway, I can tell about this more whenever I get the response from the instructor. I will remind him after some time. Okay. So anyway, just stick to our desk agenda. Okay, now so this is part of your week 11 and 12. Okay, so week 11 and 12, you have two topics that I can see. That is, one is web programming and how to request a web server from Python. So this is how a web server works, or how web programming is done using a library called Flask. So there are other libraries as well. So it is not like everything is done on Flask. So there are libraries like HTTPS, all those things. Okay. So you can use those libraries as well. But Flask is a good Flask is a good alternative, which gives you like a very good or very like fast prototyping ability. So you can just create another route or another path. For example, data, right? And for data, I can pass a JSON. And JSONs are dictionaries. Dictionaries are known as JSONs. Okay. So name, anything.
You mean to say like JSON files have data in the form of dictionary only?
Yeah, the data structure is also same, right? It's key value thing. But for here, right, whenever I am trying to send a JSON, I can load it as a dictionary and then send it. Whenever, let's say, there is a data stored in a JSON file, so I can read the JSON file, load it as a dictionary, and then send it from my Python web server, which will be like received by the client as a JSON file. Let's see. Anything, age, anything, any number. Right. Now if I restart and run the server again, oh sorry, see, one mistake I did was I haven't changed the function name. So you have to change the function name whenever you are associating with a new route. So this, let's say, just name the function as the route data, right? Now restart the kernel again. Yeah, it's running fine. Now if I refresh, it is still giving me, let's not see the network tab for now. It's still giving me hello from server. Now if I go to that path /data, it gives me, this is a JSON. Okay, and by, I can confirm it by going to the network tab. Network, refresh. This is the and response you get as a JSON, right? Preview, and here you see the this content type is an application JSON, application/JSON. So that means it's a JSON type response. Okay. Now, so these are all GET requests. So we'll see where the methods are defined. So by default, method are actually methods. Methods equal to, by default it is GET. This is the default method tab. Everything is same. So let's just go to that. Same. I'm getting hello from server. But I can have other methods too. For example, let's say the data is a post. It's a post thing. Okay. Post, and it is a post method, fine. And so it expects a post method, and post methods have the data associated with them. Okay, so it so I can send data from the client, and I can, let's say, return. So post means, so let's say it expects the, let's say, roll number. Okay, and I have a data as in form of a dictionary. Let's create some data using ChatGPT. Create a nested dictionary where outer key is roll starting from 1 to 10, and inner dictionaries are uh, similar to this. Not similar to this. Give name and age of different individuals. And this is how the data is being stored in your database as well, right? So you can query in terms of a primary key, or let's say name by age, anything. Yeah, so we have a good database like structure. I can have the data here. So by the way, so I am storing the data within the web server, but usually it accesses a database for the data. Okay. Now post expects, let's say post expects uh, the roll number. Okay, and you can get the roll number by start request dot get JSON. Request dot get JSON. So it expects a JSON which is a dictionary. So roll number would be data roll, and you convert it to an integer because it will come as a string, and then pass return the corresponding string. Return students roll. So request dot get JSON means it will from the request there will be a JSON associated with the request which holds the roll number. I will show how to do that. Okay, you send the roll number as a JSON within the request. The web servers read that roll number, send the data for corresponding to that student only. Okay, so run. Fine. Okay, it's running there. Fine. Now if I try to do a get request on data, see it says that method not allowed and the error code is 405. Okay, so it is within the series of not found, but here the get method is not allowed on that path. The path is there, but only post method is allowed. Okay, so I can send a post request from here. I can use the like fetch API or something. So anyway, so I can use Postman as well to a post request. So this application is there, Postman, by which you can send get request, post request, and everything. So my path is 127.0.0 dismiss 0.1 5000 slash data. This is the path. The method is post, and in header I think I have to do anything. Body is raw. So I have to give a JSON here row. Let's say I want third, and this is not a test. This is a JSON. Okay. Now send. If I send, what happened? Bad request. Why it is a bad request? Print data. Why it's a bad request? What? Bad request version. Okay, content type application JSON. Go to body. Not get a response. Why? HTTP status bad request. Okay. Oh, sorry. It should not be HTTPS. It's an HTTP server. So you have to look out for this. Bad request means, yeah. See, Rahul and age is 24. I miss the S. So my server is actually HTTP server. See, HTTP server. Okay. So I was trying to request to HTTPS. There's a difference, right? So that's why the method was not allowed, because HTTPS server expects a certificate with it, with the request. Okay. So otherwise, this methods will be so. So these are authentic or kind of authentication primitives. So HTTPS servers only get access, give access to the client that has a valid certificate, unless it will say ki, bad request. Okay, or you are not authorized to send a request. But HTTP server, they don't have this authentication mechanism at the beginning. So they let access everyone the data. But anyway, the problem was that the bad request comes to that. And so you can also use this for your can just create a simple form. uh, So now you now know that how to get and receive data from like from this postman, right? But how it is actually done in case of servers or sorry, web browsers are different. So web browsers have the similar type of things, but let me create a HTML page. Uh, my page dot html. So how I can access that dot type sorry, html head body, and then I can write a form, right? Label role colon, right? And then let's say I want to have a text input. Okay, so input. So how to write? So I have not installed any linter HTML text input. I guess I have to type as text, something like that. Okay, anyway, so input type as text. Type text ID role name is also role. We are break. I don't need it. Have a button for submit. Copy it from here. Submit. So this is a valid HTML form to access this server. Now let's just open it. Copy path. See this. Now if I try, see it actually sends a get request as this. See, question mark role equal to 1. 2. It sends a get request, right, by default. So I can also, so my server expects a post request. I can modify it here. On submit. So it's the on submit. Okay. Sorry. Action. So action you can do. Submit input post. No, it's not there. From a post request from a submit button. Yeah, this action and the method. Okay, so here in the form header, I have to write the action and the method. So the action is the method is post, and the action should be 127 or rather http colon slash slash 127.0.0.1 colon 500 slash sorry 5000 slash data. This is the path, right? And then I'm doing the post method. It should send the role. It should send the role colon that JSON. Let's see what it sends. Now if I refresh and write one, open the inspect tab, network. Now if I submit, see it gets a not found, fine, not found error or bad request rather, bad request. And what was the data it sent? Preview. Sorry, payload. Payload was the form data, right? Form data one. But I expect say what I expect this application JSON, right? So header is you see the content type is text HTML. Okay, but I expect a application JSON. So I'll see how I can send the application JSON from form data. HTML form send application slash JSON instead of form data. Oh, so to so you see we can so the form tag it doesn't gives us like direct access to kind of modify the header content. Okay, so for to basically change it to application JSON, we have to change like pass the data to a function, to a JavaScript function. It will kind of change the form data to a application JSON. Okay, but we will not do that. Let's just modify our server so that it can handle form data, right? And it's very easy actually. Wait, you see form data. We have some. So what I have to do, requests request dot form dot get data, I guess. This is what I have to do. And still it gives me still a dictionary thing similar to JSON. Okay, now if I what happened? One 7001500 data. Sorry, not this one. All right. Submit. Internal server error. What happened? Why internal server error? Okay, it is saying that no attributes say get data. So form let me see, flask request dot form get data. Request dot form request dot form dot get email would also work. Okay, so request dot data would also work. Okay, anyway, so request dot form dot get role. Let us do that. Request dot form dot get role. Role. Let's just cast it to integer. We start server. Fine. Right now, if I let's say tab 3 and refresh, you see that this thing is called, right? So that's how you submit the, let's say, any form in the website. So whenever you submit it, it sends the request to a server to, let's say, this is the, so what was the request here? It was post and the data was roll number of 3, right? So 3. So we print Rahul age 24. So the output was, yeah, 24 age Rahul. So that's how whenever you fill a form on internet, the front end it kind of sends a post request in the backend server, which is handled by any, let's say, Python server, Java server, anything by this way. So now I have the data corresponding, let's say anything you send from the front end, right? Your email ID, your name, your college name, anything that you send from the front end, it's collected here as a corresponding method, right? And then they get stored in database or in any other services, right? Storage services. Okay. Okay, so this is the get request, post request. Others are also same. So put requests are only to, let's say, um, so put request is for, so let's see, put request, yeah, put update or replace existing files or resources. Okay, this patch is to only update a file, which is to partially update a file. So let's say you want to update your last name, or you want to update your age, right? Only that method would be like appropriate for a patch or update request. Put is basically to replace that whole data. Okay. Head is to retrieve a resource, just to like the headers of the resource. Okay. And delete is to, let's say, delete any data. So these methods, apart from get and post, you can, and these all expects data. You can also see data from get, but the data will be visible on the URL. Okay. So I can send data from get also as well. For example, there are two types you can send data from get. One is path variable. Okay, something like this, path. Let's say path var. Okay, this is how you can send data. Say in the home path, home slash path variable, whichever path variable I send home. Let's say hair path. Okay, so hair path is the function path variable, and hello from server, and then after that you have the path variable printed. This is one way of sending data in get. Other things, post, put, everything you can send via post and sending the data as JSON or form data. Okay. But for get, you can send it in three ways. Get or any other post request also, you can send path variables. So if I send r/34, let's say, it gives me hello from server 34. So that data, 34 data, is actually the path variable, which is being sent in the same order. Let's say path variable 2, path var 2. Okay, you can have the same variable here, and let's say 5. This is the path variable 2. The order should be same. The path variable order which is defined in the route, and the path variable order which is defined in the corresponding function would be same. So 34, and let's say 35. 35. See, 34, 35. Both of the variables are accepted by the function. But if I give any other variable, let's say 32, it will get a not found error because that path is not defined. So there are no path that is defining three path variables. Okay, this is a valid path. Okay, it's received. Fine. Now this is one way of path variable, and another way is of having path parameters. So ask path parameters in get request. So that is the standard, that question mark at that thing, this request.arg parameter name. Let's uncomment this one out. Let's say param. Okay. So get, let's say param, let's say age. Age is equal to age name, or let's say only name. Uh, and also have age. Age is equal to param age. So it expects two variable name and age, as a parameter in this path, param path, and let's say hello name, comma age. Let's say it should just say hello name, comma age. Okay, whichever data is sent from the get request. Oh, sorry, the name was home. Okay, it's running. Now if I pass it and question mark name is equal to Prosenjit and so and is how you say how you enter the next parameter. Okay, so next parameter is what? Next parameter is age. Invalid parameters would be sent, but it will not be accessed by the function, right? So it will not get any error. But let's say I don't pass age, then it will get an internal error. We'll see. Is equal to, let's say, 33. If I run, see, hello person 33. Now if I don't pass age, then it will get a bad request or not a bad request, right? So why? Because whenever it tries to access this variable called age, it is getting an error, right? So yeah, so three ways you can pass variables to a web server. One is path variable, second is parameters as path parameters, third is the actual payload data. Okay, now let's see how you can request a web server. So this web server is running, right? So in Python, how I can request a web server? Let's just create another quick 11 request. So this library is requests, and this library is used like widely. Let's say if I am using Twilio, right? TWILL, Twilio to launch let's say communications on WhatsApp, automated communications on WhatsApp. For example, so I was making a project in my BTech that, let's say, whenever my indoor temperature is beyond 23 degrees, or let's say beyond 25 degrees, it will launch an automated uh, like message in my WhatsApp that turn on the AC. Right. So these type of things you can do with the library, so that I can launch a request to a service which will trigger request like trigger messages to WhatsApp. Okay, so let's just trigger message to our custom server for now. So you can use this service to launch request and like send messages to WhatsApp, automated messages to WhatsApp. Okay, it gives you that kind these APIs. So the paths, these are known as APIs. Okay, how the server is defining itself. Now in here I can do requests dot get, and it's very easy. Get http colon 127.0.0.1 colon slash 5000. See, response is 200, so that means it's an okay. So I should response. I should store the response. I should see the content. It's a byte content from hello from server. So this is how you execute like request from Python. Okay, or you can kind of do API queries. So I can also do post and the data, right? Or any other queries from get, let's say path variable, everything would be same. So date slash var slash 34 slash 54, right? It will create the same desired output. For example, let's go for the path variable, same thing. And copy the URL. Okay. So from this same, now post request, how I can do it? Post, I have to send form data here, right? So let's just use the data variable. So it will be JSON. If I'm using JSON, then it will JSON, because I'm using form data here. Form dot get. I should use the data tag here, I guess. Data is equal to role as data. Let's just first see what response is. It's a 200, so that's a success. And what is the content? Sorry. Content. It's name that's same. Third roll numbers data, right? This one, Rahul age 24. Rahul age 24. So this is how you use Python to call to an API. So these are the APIs, different APIs, and this is how you write a backend. Okay, or web server in Python. Okay, so for example, if I want to send WhatsApp notifications with Twilio, I would just go to, let's say, messaging, right? Twilio, yeah, this message. There are email services as well. Anyway, so messaging APIs. So there is a service for WhatsApp messaging in Twilio. Just go and write Twilio WhatsApp API. Oh yeah, WhatsApp Business API. Right, so you can just start using this API. Start for free. You have to log in, I guess. Start for free, and then you will get an exact. I guess I already have a Twilio account in this one. Okay, now I give my WhatsApp number. This is something recovery code or something. See. So these are how, like, why do you want to use all those things, WhatsApp? And let's go. I want to just show you how the APIs would usually look like. That's fine. And these are paid. So how many messages you send are actually limited by how much credit you have. So yeah, send message on WhatsApp. Okay. So sandbox. Okay, sandbox. Connect to WhatsApp sandbox. Okay, so this is how you Yeah, this is tool. Okay, join. Yeah, join sound doctor would give me up. So now I am connected to Twilio. Okay, now see content template, send template message. So this is the see I can come here. Can have a multi-line string, right? And this is the request. So requests. Oh, it's a Carl, right? It's a Carl. Okay, so because it's a Carl, I can use my terminal instead of Python for now. Is it too low? Copy. Use my terminal. Write it. Send it. Oh, sorry. This there here I have to write the auth token. So what is the auth token? Auth token maybe that thing I backed up, right? This one. Where is terminal? This one. Yeah, it sends some message and the status is 4015. It's received here. Send template message. Let's click on the content for now. Yeah. See, I get a message here, but anyway, I haven't triggered the message from terminal. It is from the front end. Yeah, anyway, so this is so if you just replace the auth token with a valid auth token, I guess it will work. Okay, so this is how you access Twilio and every other services to send messages. So you can also this is actually post request, right? So you can launch it with Python as a post request. Okay. Okay, so I guess okay, so we are well over, so we are well over the time limit, I guess. Okay, so I'll upload this video to YouTube anyway, but I will also update the presentation. Okay, so after 1 or 2 days, come back to the presentation and see if I have updated the course the exam pattern. Okay, so after I receive the communication from the instructor, I'll update it there. Let me remind him once more. Okay. Okay, guys, let me stop recording.